business, specifically big band music. And as he told Joe Franklin, he's committed to keeping the genre alive and swinging.
What do you call your band? How many musicians and what are the instruments?
The name of the band, well, it's called Jerry Drake. And the front page is the name of the band.
Good name?
Yeah, we have 16 musicians and myself, so I guess you can count me 17.
How long have you been in this field, Jerry?
Oh, in the music business?
Yeah,
Since the 50s. Oh, my goodness.
Back. So
yeah.
Which band leaders, how can I not, which band leaders could have been your childhood heroes?
Well, of course, Harry James is my all-time hero. I listened to all of them, Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, when I was a child.
You ever get to meet Harry James?
I did not, no.
Oh, he was great.
Unfortunately, I did see him in person in about 1981, and he was fabulous. And it was about 3 years before he died.
He was married to Betty Grable, right?
I know that, yes.
So
That's not bad.
You do your own vocals, Jerry?
I do, yes. I write them in the key for me to sing them in, of course, and so I do them because I can't get Tony Bennett to do them.
He's busy, right? Jerry, a touch of trivia. Could you name for us a few of the famous band leaders who've been immortalized in movie biopics? I know a lot of them. How many can you name?
Oh, Benny Goodman, of course,
Right.
was portrayed by Steve Allen at that time. Yeah, and of course the Glenn Miller story with
Jimmy
June
Stewart,
Allison,
Jimmy Stewart,
Jimmy Stewart,
Right.
and June Allison. Yes,
Right.
and my goodness, Sal Mineo played the Gene Krupa story.
Right.
Yep.
Eddie Duchin.
Eddie Duchin. There was a movie about the Dorsey brothers too. Both of them in it, and they played. They're both terrific.
Eddie Duchin was Tyrone Power, right?
Yes, he was. Yep, that's society band leader playing in the Tavern in the Green.
So when and why would you say that the audiences began to dwindle for the big bands? Would you say?
Well, as far as I know, it was after the Second World War. The economy actually hurt them, the big bands. It was getting more and more expensive because they had to compete with TV and all the other things that we have now in modern life. And it was awfully expensive to get a big band to put together, put on the road, And so that, of course, rock and roll came in, and a resurgence in country music. There were a lot of factors. Television, as I said, was a big factor.
Plus, the vocalists took over from the popularity. Frank Sinatra became more famous than the Dorseys, and Perry Como more than Ted Williams, and Doris Day more than Les Brown. And all the vocalists got so famous, right?
Yes, that's right. And the arrangements were written for the vocalists now. They kind of turned the tables on the big band. In the old days, the vocalist would sit there, and when it came time for him to sing, he would get up to the mic, sing, and then go back and sit down. And now the Bobby Soxers wanted to see Frank Sinatra, and so they had to make the arrangements for him to emphasize him, and he had to.
Jerry, if you had your choice of a girl singer or a boy singer, living or dead, who might those dream vocalists be to work with your orchestra?
Oh my, there were so many. Doris Day. A lot of people don't realize that she was a very famous singer before she was in the movies. Ella Fitzgerald is probably one of my most favorite.
Greatest with Chick Webb. How about Joe Stafford?
Joe Stafford is another one of my favorites. Yes, see the pyramids along the Nile.
Oh,
beautiful. Yes, she was wonderful.
So is it a hard sell? Be honest, Jerry. I mean, do you feel you're playing for a small niche? I mean, when you play original music in the Great American Songbook style, the way you describe it here, isn't it for a dwindling audience? Would you say maybe?
Well, not. With the internet now. Well, first of all, we do play all the standards. As well as my own original material. We do play the big band standards. We have the exact arrangements, and so we kind of draw that crowd. And those people are mostly older people, but we get a lot of younger people through the internet now. I direct market it through jerrydrake.com, and we pick up a lot of people who just come across the music. They like it. They don't care, what it is. They just like it and buy it.
So you feel there is a new market or young audience for what you might call your kind of music, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, after all, I'm trying to market original material, which is always hard,
Oh, what a fascinating world. Everybody likes the band. All the girls want to marry a band leader, right?
Well, I hope so.
Did you begin?
For my sake.
Did you break in by fronting other bands, local bands, when you were?
Yes. So actually, I broke in when I was in the 50s. I was a young teenager, and I played with guys and gals who were mostly older than me. They were in their 40s and 50s. So that's how I learned all the old songs. And then I formed my own band in the 70s, and I did front local big bands in the 80s. before I started my band. So I did some of that. I also played with some of the big bands, back in the day when I was a young fellow.
For people out there who didn't live through that big band era, how about painting kind of a verbal picture of a night out, listening and dancing in a ballroom or a nightclub? What was it like?
Well, first of all, there were ballrooms,
Right.
and there were a lot of them, and some of them are being preserved now, but there were just huge places where that was a safe place for everyone to go, and meet other people and dance. And they had different bands touring all over the country. It was just another world. It was a wonderful world.
Dance the night away, right?
Yeah, it was a wonderful world, and that was then, and this is now. So I'm trying to give people a taste of that, and trying to give them a taste of what the music would have been had people. I would have loved to have lived in that era and be writing original material for big bands.
What's been the biggest crowd? What's been the biggest audience you ever played for?
It's a couple thousand.
Really?
Believe me. Oh, sure. Oh, sure. In those days, sure. And now there are smaller clubs. That's true. And people come in, and I may play for 200, 300.
Jerry, somebody asked me recently, is there a difference between an orchestra and a band? The Beatles were a band, and is there, or are they synonymous?
Well, the terms are used loosely all the
Right,
time, but in the old days, the orchestra included strings, and actually big band leaders like Harry James would augment the band with strings at one time. That's how popular that and how economically feasible it was to put on 6 or 7 violins to play for, the singer, or back up the singer, or just play in the arrangements. So,
Do you go touring? Do you go traveling with the band ever?
We go wherever wherever they call us, we go. So that's mostly we're confined to the eastern area here, northeast in the United States. But we've been Arizona, California, Canada. We get around, and if somebody calls me from Korea, we'll go.
But so far as what they call that golden age of big bands, in your opinion, it's still with us right now, right, Jerry?
As far as I'm concerned, it is with me, yes. The thing I'm doing is writing new material in that style. So these are new songs. I don't know if if people have heard them that much, but they're new songs written in that style.
Well, that's important. What separates Jerry Drake? How about you describe one more time your forte, your cachet? What are you doing? What are you playing different from the classic tried and true? One more time. What's different?
Right. Well, what most of the big bands are doing now is what we call nostalgia, which is, and there's nothing wrong with that, even the doo-wop groups from the 50s and 60s. I just saw Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons tribute band that is playing out here. I'll give them publicity. But that's what happens. And but my thing is that I'm not. We do all those tunes, of course, but we do new arrangements of new songs with new lyrics, new melodies, new arrangements.
It's the new boogie woogie.
Band leader Jerry Drake speaking with Joe Franklin.